Hey, what's up guys? We are back again on Apex Hours with another informative session for you, which will help you in your Lightning Web Component and JavaScript journey. So today's session is based on Lightning Web Component and modern JavaScript. So the session is basically bridging Lightning Web Components and modern JavaScript together to get the best out of it. I'll quickly start with my introduction. I'm Kapil Batra. I'm a Salesforce MVP and founder of blog salesforcepole.com and the YouTube channel as well, which is Salesforce Bold. I'm from Ajmer, Rajasthan and currently working as a specialist senior in Salesforce domain. The agenda of this video is going to be, we'll learn about modern JavaScript. What is modern JavaScript? I'll tell you why you should use modern JavaScript instead of the old school JavaScript. I'll show you how you can connect Lightning Web Components and modern JavaScript and why you should use modern JavaScript in your Lightning Web Components. As part of examples and demos, I'll show you how you can use template literals in modern JavaScript, how to use destructuring assignment syntax in modern JavaScript, and how to use the modern functions and how to do better parameter handling. With each examples, there are going to be multiple demos as well, using which I'll show you how you can make the best use of it. So before moving to modern JavaScript, I just want you to make sure you're working in LWC already. If you're not working in LWC, if you're planning to work in it, then there's a playlist available on Apex Hours already, where I have already shared the Lightning Web Component journey from beginner, from the scratch to the pro level. So if you are new in Lightning Web Component planning to learn more about it, make sure to check out this playlist on Apex Hours. Once you're good in Lightning Web Component, then you can move ahead with this video where I'll show you the use of modern JavaScript in Lightning Web Components. Even though if you're not good in Lightning Web Component, if you're good in JavaScript only, this video is going to be a very good informational video for you where I'll be explaining how the modern JavaScript is different from the standard JavaScript, what you might be using already. Okay, let's move ahead with the next slide. So the first question here is, what is modern JavaScript? So modern JavaScript is a JavaScript released after ES6, which includes things like modules and classes. It's the same JavaScript, guys, but with some new features and modules to make your life easier. There's a saying in JavaScript, whenever you're using it, don't just use JavaScript, make sure you're using best of it. Just to give you an example, I have added one picture here. We all are aware about this thirsty crow story, right? So there was a crow that was, it was very thirsty, and then it found a jar, and then crow throws some stones in the jar and water came up, and crow drink that water and then flew away. And on the other hand, you will see the modern crow, which is not following the standard ways of doing the same activity, right? The modern crow found a straw somewhere and used the straw to drink the water. So the same way, JavaScript is also very different from the old school, the standard JavaScript. And in this video, you will learn more about it. Okay, I'll start with the introduction. So JavaScript was introduced in 1996. Yes, it is pretty old language, but still this is the best way to do the client-side stuff. After that, in 1997, the ES1 version was published. ES is basically ECMAScript, which is a collection of technology which will help you to build the web scripts. Then in 1998, ES2 was published. 1999, ES3 was published, and then after 10 years in 2009 ES5 was published. If you'll notice here, ES4 is missing, right? So ES4 version was planned to publish, but due to some reason it never got published. Now whatever you see here from 1996 to 2009, we call it old school JavaScript or standard JavaScript or old JavaScript, which is not modern, by the way. Now later on in 2015, ES6 version was published. So ES6 was the first version from which the modern JavaScript concept started. Then later on, with every year, there was a new ES version with it. Like in 16, it was ES7, in 17, ES8, ES9, then ES10, and it is still continuing. and as of now the version is ES14 if I'm not wrong. Now the JavaScript versions, the ECMAScript version, you see from ECMAScript 6 to continue. We call these versions as modern JavaScript, right? Because after ECMAScript 6 only the modules and other functionalities were introduced to make your life easier in JavaScript. So we will go one by one. I'll give you 3 examples of modern JavaScript. You might be already using it in a different way, in standard way of using it in standard JavaScript. But using modern JavaScript, using the modern ways, you can make your life a little easier while developing these client-side scripts. It is the same thing like we are not using these keypad phones anymore, right? We are using the touch screen phone, we are using latest technology. We are upgrading ourselves with time, right? So the same way we need to upgrade the knowledge also what we are having. So I'll start with template literals. So template literals or template strings are delimited with backtick characters. You must have seen backtick characters in JavaScript. If you're working in LWC already, you must have seen the backtick characters in GraphQL as well. So template literals allow you to perform some actions, mostly create a string by doing substitution of placeholders, which can be little complicated if you will use the normal way. I'll show you some example of these template literals. Now to give you the demo of it, we'll be using playcode.io. This is a free platform to test your JavaScript code and see the output instantly. Okay. So I'll quickly empty this file. Okay. Now as an example, let me use template. Let me first use the standard way of doing functionality. Okay. So I have created a constant here, my user. Okay. And I'm using first name, which is my name here, and I'm using last name, which is my last name basically. Okay. Now if I will try to print it using standard ways basically, so I'll do console.log and let's say following user. Now in user I need to have single quotes, so you cannot use single quotes in modern JavaScript. You need to use the backslash and then you need to use single quote. These are basically escape sequences you need to use. So backslash single quote. Okay, so it is like following user is not available. Now here I will pass my parameter, which is my user dot first name, and I will also add, okay, let it be first name only. So here in the output you can see following user is not available, and here I'm having the value. Okay, so this is the standard way of doing it. You might be already doing it in your JavaScript file, in your client-side scripts, and your Lightning Web Components, right? Now let me show you. Let me mark it as a standard way first. Okay, so this is the standard way. Now let me show you the modern way of doing it. Okay, in modern ways we are not using the single quotes to print the string. Instead of single quotes we'll be using backtick symbol. So I'll do console.log. Now here I'll be using the backtick sign. This is the backtick sign. Now here I will use the same text following user. Now while you're using backtick signs, you don't have to worry about the escape sequences. You can simply use single quotes or any other escape sequence here. Following user is not available. Okay, now to print your variable, the variable name, there's a syntax for it. You need to use the $sign, curly braces, and then you can use your parameter name, which is my user dot first name. We'll add a semicolon and close the statement. So here if you will notice, the output is same for both of the JavaScript ways, like standard way and modern way. But here if you will see, we have saved couple of characters using the modern ways, which is using the backtick signs, right? Let me give you another example. I'll keep this tab open and I will open a new tab here. Okay. Now in standard JavaScript way, if you need to have new lines in your string, right? So standard way of having new line. So I'll do console.log. Okay, I'll use my single quotes again. I'll do line 1, then backslash n, line 2, backslash n again, and line 3. So this is the standard way of having a new line, right? Now let me show you using backtick signs and modern JavaScript how you can use it. So I'll do modern way. Okay, we'll have same console log, console.log. Now you just need backtick sign here. Okay, I'll add line 1. Now to have a new line, you just need to press enter in modern ways of JavaScript. So I'll press enter, line 2, enter, oh, sorry, and line 3. So here if you'll notice the output is same, but still using this modern way of doing this specific thing, we have saved couple of lines here, and we don't have to use the escape sequences anymore here, right? So this was one of the benefit and one of the functionality which you can use in modern JavaScript, which is template literals, right? I'll move ahead with further examples of different functionalities. Let me go back to slideshow mode again. Okay, so next in the modern JavaScript sheet is destructuring assignment syntax. The destructuring assignment syntax is a JavaScript expression that makes it possible to unpack values from array or properties from object into distinct variables. As a JavaScript developer, I know that developers are always trying to get data in and out of an array or an object. Most probably you have to use the standard way, right? Now let's try to understand it using some example. So for destructuring assignment syntax also, I'll show you a couple of examples to add or fetch values from an array using standard and modern ways. Okay, so we will quickly go back. Let's use this playground again. Okay, so here first I'll create a basic function. Okay, I'll create an array here. So I'll do literal first name and last name. Okay, now I'll create user and I will assign first name to first name and last name here. Okay, now if I need to fetch these values from this literal array, so for that what I can do is I can simply go like console.log and I can print user here. So here if you will see, it is having two values, first name as my value, my first name, and last name as my last name. Okay, so this is basically standard way of doing this thing. Now let me tell you the modern way of doing the same thing. So in ES6 you no longer have to repeat yourself as long as the variable and object property names are same. Okay, let me show you how. So we'll create literals again, first name and last name. Now let's assume the same situation. We need to bind these two values into an object. So we'll create user. Now, if you will notice in the previous example, the properties name were also same. In this user object, we are having first name and last name, and the values name are also same. Okay. So here we don't have to repeat the property names until it's same. Okay. So here what we can do simply is first name, comma, last name. And now here if I will try to print it with console log. Okay. Now here if you will notice, we are getting the same output what we had here, but we have saved couple of line of code. All we did here was remove the repeating variable name and columns. This shorthand comes in handy when you have objects containing a large number of fields, but that's not all. ES6 provides a simpler way of getting data out of an array or objects. This also helps reduce repetitive lines of code. Okay, as an example, I'll give you another one. So let's say we are having a couple of values in an array. So I'll create a literal numbers, which is having 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now to get data out of this array, the usual way is we can create separate literals like 1, and here we can have the first index, which is 0. Then we can have 2, index 1, 3, index 2, and 4 as in index 3 here. Okay. Now you can print these values like console.log, and if I'll print 1, it will give me the first value of this array because we have assigned the 0 index of this array here, right? But how it is different in modern JavaScript? So in modern JavaScript, you can now access the data through the variable names. Okay, let me show you. So we'll take the same example. We are having the same number. I'll quickly copy this one. Just a second. So I'll copy it and paste it here. So we are having the same array, right? Now, instead of assigning it one by one, what we will do, we'll just create literals like this, 3, 4, okay? And we will do the assignment like this. So basically, by doing this, we are assigning parameters based on the index of these literals. The brackets on the left side of the assignments are part of the new destructuring syntax. So this code is same thing as saying, give me 4 variables, name 1, 2, 3, and 4, and assign the first value in the numbers array to variable 1 and the second value in variable 2, and so on. So basically it is the shorter, sweeter, and a great way. So now here also, if you will try to print it, console.log, it will give you the first value, and the same will go with other values as well. If I'll print 4, it will give me the last value of this syntax, right? So that was another way of using this destructuring assignment syntax in modern JavaScript. Okay. Now the same way you can have like similar variables, and you can do the assignments based on the available values in it, right? Now, what if the source is having what is the source is having some missing elements, or the elements are not in the correct sequence, I would say. For example, here we are having 4 elements, here also we are having 4 elements, and that's how the parameters got assigned in the proper numbering, right? But what if it is just having 2 elements? Okay, for example, if it is just having 1 and 2, so for 1 it will still show you the result, but if you will try to get 4, it will give you undefined. It won't be throwing an error, but it will give you the result as an undefined. So basically in an array, destructuring from an array of length n specified on the right hand side of the assignment, if the number of variables specified on the left hand side of the assignment is greater than the number of right hand side assignment, only the first available variables will be assigned. So as an example, only these two parameters which are having 1 and 2 values will be assigned to 1 and 2 in this destructuring assignment syntax, and 3 and 4 will be undefined based on this thing. Okay. Another example, a very good example of this destructuring assignment syntax is how to swap variables in JavaScript. So for example, just think of a normal situation where, let's say you are having literal A with 1, literal B as 3 maybe. Okay. Now using the standard way, how you will reassign the variables. I need value A in B, and B's value should be 1 and A's value should be 3. So for that, maybe using standard ways, you will create another literal called C, which will hold the assignment temporary and then assign it back to the actual parameter, right? But using destructuring assignment syntax, what you can do simply is you can combine it as an array like A and B, and you can assign it in the same array but with swap values, which is B and A. Now here, if you will try to print it, console.log, if I will try to print A, it will give me the value which was in B, and the same way if I'll be printing B, it will give me the value which was assigned to A. So basically we have swapped the values using the destructuring assignment syntax, one of the most important function in modern JavaScript, the destructuring assignment syntax, which will definitely make your life easier while developing something on client side. Okay, now we will move ahead with the last and final functionality. For this demo only, there are a couple of other functionalities as well, but in this demo I'll be covering a couple of them only. Okay, so the next modern JavaScript functionality which I want to show you is how you can use functions and do the better parameter handling. Okay, now prior to ES6, parameter handling in function was tedious. To ensure that your code ran as expected, you often had to add manual checks with functions or any optional parameters. You remember, like whenever you're having function, whenever you're passing two values, for example, for a calculation or something, right? Now, what if user is passing only one variable while calling that function, right? In that case, you need to assign a default value in your function. So basically, modern JavaScript provides you a way to assign a default value while you're calling that function. Another benefit which we got in modern JavaScript is using the fat arrow syntax. So basically, whenever you are handling functions or whenever you're calling function, you can now use the fat arrow syntax to call your function, which will also save a couple of lines of code, and it is basically a better way of doing the same thing. Okay, so as an example, let me quickly open the playcode.io. Okay, I'll use this. You must be probably familiar with defining functions like this. So I'll go result function a b. So basically it is accepting two values and it will return a plus b. So this is a very simple function, right? You must be aware of it. Now if I will try to call this function, console.log result, here I need to pass two values, 5 and 10. Now as a result, if you will notice here, it is giving me 15, right? So this is the standard way of doing it basically. Now let me show you the modern way of doing it. Okay, so in modern way, let's have another parameter which is result modern. Now here you don't have to write the function keyword again. Okay, so instead of that, we will just have our parameters. we'll use the fat arrow syntax, which is basically equals to and greater than sign, and we will after that we can directly assign the expected result from it. Okay, now again, if I'll call this modern result 10 and 10. So here, if you will see, the function is still working and we have reduced the code from 3 lines to just 1 line. All we have done here is to remove the function and return keyword and use the new fat arrow symbol instead. The parameters are even optional when there is only one parameter, and you only need the curly braces when you have more than one expressions. Just remember that if you do include the curly braces, the return keyword is required in that case. If you are not using curly braces and if you are not having multiple parameters, then you don't need the return keyword. This will be covered as a return. This will automatically act as a return. Okay. So basically using fat arrow syntax or arrow functions, you can have less code, remove some of the confusion when dealing with this keyword as well. Okay. So this was the one of the example which comes under this fat arrow syntax in modern JavaScript. Now as in another example, I will show you how you can do the better parameter handling in modern JavaScript. For that, we will use this playground. So as I told you prior to, ES6 parameter handling in function was tedious. To ensure that your code ran as expected, you often had to add manual checks within the function or any optional parameter. For example, if I'm creating a function here, hello world, I'm expecting 2 parameters here, p1 and p2. Okay. Now, whenever user is calling this function, what if user is just passing one parameter? User is not passing the other parameter, right? There can be situations like it. So what you can do is to solve this, the standard way could be to assign a default value if it is null. So here we'll do, if p2 is null, then we will assign world here as a default value basically. So the return should work as expected, because in return we are having p1 plus p2, which is not going to work with a null value, right, or undefined value. It cannot go undefined plus p2, right? Now if I'll try to print here console.log, and here if I'll call this function, which is hello world, and so basically I need to pass 2 parameters. For example, if I'm passing the correct parameter, let's say hello, and as in second parameter I'm passing my name, so it will give you the proper result. But what if I'm not passing the second parameter, if I'm just passing the first parameter here? So now here it will keep the default value, which is world, right? And it will give you the result hello world. Okay. Now for this as well, ES6 offers a better way to handle function parameters. You can now specify default parameter values via an equal sign in the parameter list. For the hello world function, the second parameter is optional, but you don't need that extra line of code inside the function. So if you want to do the same thing using modern JavaScript, what you can do is, I'll quickly copy this, duplicate it, paste it here. Okay. So while declaring the function, what you can do is you can use the equal sign here like this. You can assign the default value here like this, and you don't need this line anymore. So here also, if you will notice, as the second parameter is optional, if you will pass it, it will give you the correct result. If you won't be passing the second parameter, it will take the values from here. You don't have to assign the value separately and check if it is null, then assign it, otherwise take the actual values. So basically, while declaring the function, you can have the equal to sign, and you can assign the default value for the specific parameters. This can go with multiple parameters as well, whatever optional parameters you want to have in your functions. you can have the default values like this. Okay, so this was another one of the good functionality which comes under the modern JavaScript part. There are a couple of other stuff as well which comes under this modern JavaScript, but unfortunately it is not possible to explain everything, you know, on a single PPT or on a single video. But still, if you wish to learn more about it, I have created a playlist which is modern JavaScript for Lightning Web Component, which is available on my YouTube channel, Salesforce Polled. Here I'm having around 9 videos in it, and if you really wish to learn more about modern JavaScript, make sure to check it out. Okay, so that it is for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like today's video, make sure to subscribe to Apex, or make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel Salesforce Polt as well. All right, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.